All right. Can you guys hear me? If you can, shout it out down in the chat, all right? This is not one of those webinars where I don't want you using the chat. I want you to use the chat, and I will let you know this is not live. Live ones are always messy. I'm always really, really nervous during them, and they just don't come out right, okay? So my job is to get you the best conversion rates for your dispute letters, right? And to do that, I can't be nervous. So this is not live. However, I did put a lot of time into this. It took me 6 hours alone to put together the bonus for you. Speaking of the bonus, if you stay till the end, you are going to get a copy of my conversion booster notes, all right? And that's actually everything that I have right here, you get on my Trello board. So you definitely want to stay till the end. It's actually going to pop up somewhere on your screen as a handout, and you'll be able to click on the link and it'll take you directly there. All right, let me just make sure that my earpiece is in. All right, let's jump right into this. So this is for you if you have any negative item that you cannot get off. Maybe you can't figure out how to remove a bankruptcy. Maybe you're having problems with American Express, or I don't know, Wells Fargo, or even a medical collection. You can use these techniques to remove virtually any negative item, all right? So that does sound like kind of a bold statement, but these are the same things that I use for every single one of my clients. So if it works for me, it'll work for you. In 2019 alone, I removed over 5,300 negative items. And that's not even including, you know, late payments and stuff. That's over 3,000. So that's 8,000 plus negative items that I removed using these techniques, okay? So I'm going to break down the formula for a letter, the formula for reasons, what you shouldn't do. You're here because you're having issues, and I'm here to help you fix it, okay? So make sure you stay till the end, like I said, and make sure, like I said, that you shout out anything that you want in the chat. I will be able to reply to you. I might be watching this with you right now. I'm not too sure what I'll be doing tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but I will get back to any questions that are in the chat, right? So let's jump right into this. So we're first going to look at the reasons that you are not getting conversions out of your dispute letters, right? So what this means is that you've done all this stuff, you sent your letters in, you crafted them, you sent in whatever your letter looks like, and they're coming back and saying, it's been verified, it's been verified, it's been verified, the creditor certified it as accurate, you know, we don't have to send you this, and maybe you called, maybe you're on the phone with the bureaus or the creditors or the collection agencies and you're just not making any headway. I'm going to show you right now the 5 reasons that you are not getting your conversion, okay? So what I mean by conversion is that you send in your dispute letter and you get the result that you're looking for, just so that we get that out of the way. All right, so the number one reason, and if you know me, you know that this is probably what I'm going to say, templates. All right, so we have the 5 right here, the 5 reasons, and we're going to break down every single one of these, okay? So the number one reason that you are not getting your results is because you are sending in templates. You have to realize, you have to understand what that means. So a template is a letter that you either purchased online or someone gave it to you and it's been sent out a bunch of times to the bureaus. You didn't write it. It's not targeted to your specific reason, your accounts, your, you know, your credit report. That is a template, okay? It's something where you can just copy and paste your information to. So this is literally going to cover 609, 604, 603, 605B, 1681 disputes, those law-heavy dispute letters. Those are templates. And the reason that they don't work, besides what I obviously already said, is that as soon as they get to the bureaus, they being your letters, the very, very, very first thing that happens is that it gets scanned into the computer and it attempts to read it, right? So let me ask you this. What happens when the computer can read it? Do you know? If you know, let me know down in the chat. It's going to determine if it's a template, right? So I don't know how many of you went to college, but if you went to college, and unless it was, you know, like 20 years ago, which there's no real problem with going to school 20 years ago, but now they check for plagiarism, right? They'll scan your essays and your papers and all that kind of stuff into a system, and they're going to check for plagiarism. If obviously you plagiarize, you're gonna get in a lot of trouble with the dean, or the director of your professor or whoever, right? And you might even get kicked out. This is the same thing, that they are looking for very specific matches in the information, whether it be the formatting of a phrase, exact or partial matches. It's looking to see, has this been sent before by somebody else or even by you? Because you can't send in the same dispute letter over and over and over again, okay? So that is the number one reason that you are not getting the results that you want, and it's because you are sending out templates, all right? So how do you fix that? I'm going to show you how to fix it, but this is a very, very, very simple thing, and I actually already told you. The way that you fix this is sending out everything customized to your specific needs, your situation, your credit report, using the facts directly off your credit report. And I'll show you how to do that, all right? So the number two reason is that you are sending out the same dispute reason, okay? So what this means is that, let's say that on round one, and this is the exact thing that I have on my Trello board, but let's say that you dispute let's use that for later. Let's say that you dispute a medical account as unknown with the bureaus. So it doesn't matter what you did with the creditors or the collection agency. I'm only talking about the credit bureaus. You first said, oh, this is unknown. Now, when you dispute it again, you can't say that it's unknown. I mean, you can challenge them, not sending you a copy of a signed contract. You can challenge their method of verification. You can dispute the date last active. You can dispute the balance. You can, go down the hierarchy, but you cannot say that it is unknown again. And you can't even rephrase it. You can't say, I disputed this and told you that it was unknown, that I don't know where this came from or whatever, and you didn't send me blah, blah, blah. You can't even say that. And, just being honest, I used to do that. But I found that even though that's not per se illegal, right? Because you're not really saying the same exact thing, it still falls under the same dispute reason, and your likelihood of getting a deletion or the result that you want from it is very, very low. Okay, so instead of like an 80% chance, which you could have gotten if you used a new dispute reason, now you're only looking at, I don't know, maybe 30% chance. What do you want? 80% or 30%? You don't even have to tell me in the chat. I mean, it's pretty obvious that you would want, the highest probability possible, right? So what you need to do is, and I did put the relevant links, I don't know if it's on this part or, and I believe it's here. I believe it's on this one, but when you go and look at my Trello board, you're going to find links to the dispute reasons that I have as examples on my website, as well as the hierarchy. Where do you start? And you can also access in one of my most recent posts on Facebook, the Advanced Creator for free, okay? The Advanced Creator is going to show you a dispute flow, what you should dispute with first, your biggest ammo, so on and so forth. I actually had quite a few people say that that was exactly what they were looking for, and that's really all that they needed. So it's definitely packed with a bunch of stuff that could really, really, really change the outcome of your disputes, okay? So the number 3 reason, this might surprise you, but that you went to multiple companies. Now, obviously, you can see this, you can read this, and you can skip ahead of me, right? But I'd like you to follow along and stay with me, because I don't want you to miss any of this. So the number 3 reason is that you're going to multiple companies, or you're disputing just to dispute. Now, when I say that you're disputing just to dispute, what I mean is that you're either just trying to keep the momentum going, or you don't know what you're doing, right? So when I first started doing my own credit 15 years ago, I did not know what I was doing. I actually attempted to go with a very large and well-known company. A lot of you know, excuse me, who I'm talking about. That didn't work out. Had to learn how to do it myself, and my stuff was all over the place, right? I didn't know what I was doing, and you have to realize that the longer you dispute, and this is the reason for number 3, the longer you dispute, the harder it's going to be to remove your negative item, whatever it is. I don't care if it's a collection, a charge off, a late payment. The longer you dispute, the harder it is, right? So let's say that you go to company 1, or company A. You're with them for a year. Now you're over here with company B. You're with them for 4 months. They steal your money, but they sent out 2 disputes. Now you're like, screw the companies, I'm going to do it myself. Now you're on round, I don't know, 3 doing it yourself, and you're just like, oh my God, you know, what is going on? Why am I not getting these deletions? Well, it's because you're probably using templates. I won't even go to number 2 because it's inevitable if you've been with 2 companies and you're doing it yourself now that you've obviously used the same dispute reason. But it's also that the longer you dispute, the harder it is. And now, not only have you gone through all of this, but you've also probably run out of dispute reasons, right? And I actually probably should have added that in on here, but I'm adding it in now. So you only have so many dispute reasons. And just off the rip, you have 17 dispute reasons that you can use per account without even going into factual based disputes or anything like that. Okay, so that's 17. So in a year, if you send out 10, that's already 10 reasons, right off the bat that you got rid of, right? Now, that company that stole your money and they sent out 2 disputes, that's another one. So that's 12. You're only left with 5 more dispute reasons. Now you're round 3. Right? So you get what I'm saying? And we're chopping off as we go along here, and a lot of people don't even know that they have at their disposal all of these dispute reasons. Now, if you actually want an entire list of dispute reasons, you can go and get my 165 dispute reasons at gumroad.com/Vargas Consulting. Okay, VARGAS Consulting. Okay, so the way that you fix this, let's just say that you did go to multiple companies. Let's say that you did dispute yourself. Let's say that you did go to a company that stole your money, but they did send out disputes. What do? If all of these, you know, hey Kristen, look, if you're saying all these dispute reasons are gone and that I'm just basically screwed, what am I supposed to do now? Just give up and wait 7 years? No, dude, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that right now it is crucial. It's crucial that you understand how to do this correctly, and that you use the right techniques and methods and strategies to still obtain conversions, okay? Because you don't want to be stuck with these things on there just because you either A, didn't know what you were doing, or B, you didn't do anything at all, or C, you were just disputing for the hell of it, or even D, you kept on going to different companies, right? So sometimes you have to take the time to invest in yourself. If you watched my previous video, I talked about investing in yourself. You have to take that time to invest in yourself, right? So, you know, length of disputes go into this category. Companies that drag you on for 12 months to 5 years, right? I'm sure all of you are aware that that does happen. Not with me. I do have a cap on my time frame. But there is a very specific strategy that I go over here on Trello, okay? So now, as you can see, number 4 is no clear reason. What I mean by that is, once again, going back to templates. Now, a template is just using a law, right? Pursuant to Section 609, you're required to send me the, excuse me, pursuant to Section 609, you're required to send me the copies of my signed contract or remove this account. So sorry, all up in your ear. Now, that's not really saying, you know, someone stole my identity while I was on vacation in Japan, and it, you know what, it could have been on the flight, right? Because that happens a lot. It happened to my parents, but it was their identity plus $20,000, and that was actually their money that they were going to New York to put on a house. So that really sucked for them. But you're building up a story here, right? We're going to get into the whole how to build out your dispute letter, but you need to tell them why you're disputing, why you're sending the letter, and what you want to happen. So using a template, you're not telling them any of that. You're saying, according to this law that they say that they can interpret, right? According to this law that you don't even follow, you're required to do this, this, and this, or I'm going to take you to court. Now, as a side note, it is illegal for you to even state that you're going to take them to court if you have no intention of doing so. So please, we're actually going to put that under the biggest mistakes, but please don't do that unless you actually mean it and you actually intend to take them to court or creditor or collector, okay? So when I say no clear reason, what I'm saying is that you're not saying this account is completely unknown. I wasn't even in the country at that time that it was opened. Okay, you need to remove this because you do not have my signature on any documentation, and if you do, I need to see it. You see the difference between a pursuant to some law that doesn't pertain to me and that you interpret the way that you want, and hey, I need to see this because blah, blah, blah. So when you give them a clear reason, you're following this formula that I have laid out for you, and you're going to see much, much better results. Okay, so if you're just doing templates and all that kind of stuff, I mean, you might be converting at like maybe 30%, but if you implement the stuff that I'm teaching you and everything that I've gone over in my videos, I mean, you can see deletions in as little as 30 days, even if you've gone to multiple companies and you've used your templates, okay? Now, I'm not saying that all templates are bad. All right, let me just get that straight. I am not saying that all templates are bad, because they're not. If you're disputing with the creditor, I do advise that you use a template, because I'm not going to go much into the because part of that, but I'm only specifying the credit bureaus when I say no templates, okay? So if I were to dispute directly with Capital One, I would be using a 623 direct to creditor letter, and I would be using a template. And I got like hair on my face, freaking hair. Anyways, if I were disputing with a collector, I would be using the validation of debt method, unless they were a debt buyer. In that case, unless it's actually truly inaccurate, I wouldn't be disputing with them at all. So there are circumstances under which you will want to use a template, okay? So not all templates are bad, it's only to the bureaus. There is one, just that I can think of off the top of my head, one template that you may consider using with the bureaus, and that's a Section 611 reinsertion letter, okay? You can always take parts of it, but that one is okay to use because it is very specifically about them violating the law, and you don't have to put a factual dispute in there. Alright, so I'm sure that you get this part. We're going to go on to the next one. Alright, so using the wrong reason, and this is number 5. Alright, so we already went over templates, same dispute, multiple companies, no clear reason, and wrong reason. And this kind of ties everything together, right? So what I mean by wrong reason is that if you are disputing with a creditor, right, Capital One directly, you would not send them a validation of debt. Now, I might have just blown a couple of minds here. Alright, so what do you think I mean by wrong dispute? Give me an example down in the chat. What do you think would be a wrong dispute reason? Okay. A 623 dispute goes directly to the creditor. A validation of debt goes to a collector because you are validating the debt. Okay. So the VOD method goes directly to the collector. The 623 goes directly to the creditor. All right. The 609 goes directly to the bureaus. All right. So basically here, this really, when I say it ties everything in, it's because we don't want to use templates. That's number 1. The second part of this is using the wrong reason in, let's just say, I don't want to go on a tangent here, so that's why I'm choosing my words very carefully. Let's just say that you are disputing a bankruptcy, okay? You're disputing a bankruptcy and you send them a 609 letter regarding your bankruptcy. Dude, that doesn't even apply in this situation, okay? Because a lot of you think that it really has to do with contracts, but it doesn't. It actually has to do with applications, okay? So that's not even the way that you're supposed to dispute a bankruptcy anyways. Asking for verification of it, that's for a different video, a different day. You might want to go and look that up, how to remove bankruptcy, but very specifically, you're using factual-based disputes, wherein you're not asking for any sort of validation on anything because you're taking the facts directly off the credit report and you're using them to remove it, right? Okay, so just be careful. That's all I'm saying is just be careful because these are, and I spent a ton of time putting this together and researching out of comments and my conversations and my chats and letters from my clients and emails and everything. I pulled them, I researched them, and these are the 5 top reasons. Okay, so when you are disputing with a creditor, which you probably shouldn't do anyways, but you're going to be using a 623. Do not use any other type of dispute unless you're taking them to court, okay, or unless you're challenging them. With a collector, you're using the validation of debt method. Do not send them a 609. With the bureaus, you're using factual-based disputes. With the courts, don't even bother, okay? Don't bother freezing LexisNexis and all of that unless it specifically has to do with disputing your inquiries, and you're going to go to Sage for that, okay? So that kind of wraps up this part on the 5 top reasons why you are not seeing your results, okay? Now, maybe you thought that I was going to say something totally different. A lot of you know me though, and you know that I normally start with templates, because when I was actually using templates, and let me just pause there and tell you a little bit of a story. When I first started, I was obviously using templates, okay? And I'm talking about as much law as I could possibly fit in there. You know what I mean? Like I was sending like pages and pages of law on top of my letter that I wrote, and I was cross-referencing them and highlighting it, and I mean, it was a mess. Like, it was like I thought I was a lawyer and I was going to court the next day for like some big ass freaking trial. It was crazy. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. All right. So one of the most important things that you need to understand is that you need a little bit more background on who the credit bureaus are. And I'm going to tell you why this is important, because some of you may be like, oh my God, this is like going to be real boring and I'm just going to turn this off. But do you, and I want you to answer this in the chat, do you know what business the credit bureaus are in? Now, some of you might obviously say credit, right? Credit bureaus. They're not in the credit business. Now, obviously about credit reports, yes, but they are in the data business, all right? They are in the business of obtaining, maintaining, and selling information. Now, if that doesn't make sense to you, I'm going to explain it, okay? I'm going to break this down for you so that you understand it. And the reason why this is important is because you have to realize that the bureaus, creditors, and collection agencies are not there to help you. They are not there to help you. They have no incentive to assist you, okay? And that's why it's so important that you watch to the end, because this is actually the biggest part in Trello in my notes, okay? So this is very, very, very important. And if you don't know this, this is going to be one of the biggest mistakes that you make. You don't want to add it over here. You want to use this plus this information to what? To get your results, right? So let me ask you a question. Besides not knowing that they were in the data business, did you know that the bureaus have a conflict of interest? Yes or no? Do you believe that the bureaus have a conflict of interest when it comes to investigating your information? If you said yes, you are correct. They have a conflict of interest because, once again, they obtain, maintain, and sell it, right? So they obtain your information either from public records, such as bankruptcies, or directly from the creditors who pay them to report it. Now, likewise, the bureaus pay creditors for this information, right? So, additionally, you have to understand that the creditors are subscribing to 1, 2, or 3 of the bureaus, right? If they're a smaller company, they might only do TransUnion. If they're a large, a mid company, they might do Equifax and TransUnion, like most medical places. And then if they're big credit card companies and loan companies, banks, all that kind of stuff, they're going to subscribe to all 3. All right. So the creditors are paying the bureaus to report this information, and the creditors are also purchasing this information from the bureaus. Now, and I do believe that I made a mistake when I said about the bureaus paying paying the creditors for the information. That's incorrect. I did not mean to say that. I meant the creditors are paying the bureaus for the information, okay? So what I mean is that, have you ever gotten those mailers that are like, you know, you're approved for this, or, you know, come in for a new vehicle, and you're like, dude, I wasn't even shopping for a vehicle. Like, there's a dude in New York, Fusillo. I don't know if any of you are from New York, but at least upstate New York, there's Fusillo, Honda, and Ford, excuse me, and all of that. Well, that dude is a freaking millionaire. Like, he doesn't even need to have all these places, but he's got all that money because of these places, all these car dealerships. He sends a crap load of direct mail, and it still works. But where does he get this information from? Where does he get your address from? Where does he get, you know, your phone number from? Where does he get all this information from? He gets it from the credit bureaus. Now, those of you that are in sales and marketing and all of that, where do you get your leads from? Now, if you work for places, and I'm just going to use one place that I worked for as an example, if you work at doing cold calls and stuff, like you work at Kirby Vacuums, right? I was the chick that would go knock on your door. I'd get the dude in for an appointment who would then, you know, demonstrate with the, you know, Kirby Vacuum and all of that. But where do they get their information from? They get it from the bureaus, right? They pay a crap load of money for your information, and you know they have it. They have it by those of you that are in sales and marketing. Think about Facebook ads, right? A lot of that information also is credit bureau related and all that kind of stuff, because it all has to do with leads. But how are they able to, and putting Facebook aside because you provide that information, but let's just use the Kirby Vacuums again. How do they know that you are 35 years old, that you're a male, and that you make average income? They get it from the bureaus. They get it from the bureaus. I can go online right now and do a Google search and find a bazillion, hundreds and hundreds of pages about purchasing qualified leads. Qualified meaning that they fit my demographic and all of that kind of stuff. It's not just, you know, Bob who works in McDonald's that I'm trying to sell a $15,000 coaching course to, or, you know, one-on-one coaching to, and he obviously can't even afford it, right? So you have to understand that there's a huge picture to this, and that you are only one part of this. We're spending a lot of time on this because it's very, very important, as you can tell. When I've so sorry. Let me just grab some water real quick. Sorry about that. Okay, so what the heck was I going to say? Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm certified with the CCA for credit, right? So one of the first things that you have to do is go through like hundreds of pages of documentation and learn how to do this, all the laws, all the things you should and shouldn't do, right? I also took Dispute Suite's course as well. One of the very first things that you learn is the business that the bureaus are in. It's that important that besides learning that you can't do credit repair in Georgia, and that, you know, that about the Credit Repair Organization Act and, you know, all that kind of stuff, the very next thing is what business the bureaus are in. It's that important that it's before you ever learn, you know, how to do templates and, you know, what you should and shouldn't be disputing and all that kind of stuff. You have to learn about this. That's how important it is, right? So my only point behind this is for you to understand that there's a much bigger picture to all of this. And what it all boils down to is that the bureaus have no incentive. The creditors have no incentive, and the reason why, long story short, the reason why I'm not rushing any of this, okay, is that if the bureaus remove something, that means most of the time, even though it doesn't really matter if, you know, the creditor is giving the bureaus like hundreds of accounts, well, most of the time that means that they're not going to get paid for that account, right? So you are taking money away from the bureaus, and their job is to make money, not lose money. Additionally, when your accounts are inaccurate because of negativity, it might mean that your score is lower. Now, fixing your credit means you're going to have a higher score. What does a lower score mean? Does it mean a lower APR for you, or does it mean a higher APR for you? let me know in the chat. What does it mean? It means you have a higher APR if you have a lower score, which means more money for the creditors. Which means, when I say more money for the creditors, it means that they make more money. So they're going to make more money at a 26% interest on a vehicle, right? Instead of a 6% interest. That also means that they're going to pay the bureaus more money for this information, and that the bureaus are going to make more money. So why would they want to let you raise your credit score? Why would they want to let you raise your credit score? When it means they are going to lose money because your information is no longer going to be that valuable. Things to think about, all right? And it works both ways. Lower score, higher APR. Higher score, lower APR. So on and so forth, right? Okay, so let's move on to the formula. And a lot of you may have heard some of this part because I obviously have free videos on this, and I just stepped on freaking Legos. Anywho, the formula part, okay? So you have a letter formula and an account and or reason formula. Now, the reason I'm calling it a formula is because it's always the same. Your biggest animal is always on the top. Your rounds 1 through 4, okay? So if you watched a previous video of mine about the pyramid method, if you break a pyramid or triangle into 3, and you can even use the inverted or you can use a regular pyramid because I explained both methods, they're basically the same. You're going to have date last active, date last paid, so on and so forth at the top beside your blatant inaccuracies like different balances and whatnot. In the middle, you're going to have the stuff that's not as important and it's not going to get you as many deletions, like balance, monthly payment, past due, stuff like that, right? So your job is to get as many deletions in that round 1 through 4, so the first 6 months in that top section as fast as possible, right? So within 120 days or 180 days, depending on when you send out your disputes, you should have the majority of your deletions there. So if we go back to this whole multiple companies in all the years that you're disputing and all of that, you've already gone through all of that stuff if you're using factual based disputes. So that's what I'm saying. It gets harder as you go along. So that's why it's so important that you use the right techniques and the right methods and the right strategies and the right reasons and all that kind of stuff. Is this kind of coming together for you? Yes or yes? Yes or yes? Say, tell me down in the chat. Yes or yes? Alright. I will not accept anything other than yes. If you wrote no or anything other than that, then this is not the video for you. Okay, so, and I didn't mean that in any mean way at all. Alright, so going back to this, there's a letter formula and an account reason formula, okay? So looking at the letter, it's very specifically, and once again, I break this down on Trello, very specifically. You need to tell them why you are writing this letter. In the very top part of your letter, you should be telling them why you wrote it. So what this means is just like I said, I got on a flight to Japan, the time indicator in there 3 days ago, a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, I got on a flight to Japan. When I got there, I went to use my card and found out that it was blocked for fraud. It turned out that the fraud was real, and then I'm a victim of identity theft. These are the accounts down below that I need you to investigate. Please send me a new credit report. And in between, you're going to list your accounts. The formula is always the same. Why you're sending this letter to them. Why you're sending this letter to them. And what you want them to do. I want you to investigate them. I want you to send me a new credit report. What you want them to do. Alright? Why you're sending it, what you want them to do. But you have to remember, you have to do this in a real person type of way. That's why I also put out 2 software pieces. One on creating disputes, very simply walks you through by asking some questions. and then 1 for creating your dispute reasons, because you want it to be genuine. Every single letter that you put out needs to be genuine. Every single letter that you put out needs to have its own story. Every single letter that you send out needs to have its own dispute reasons that have never been used before, right? Make sense? Okay, so your account or reason formula is going to very, very simply be, and like I said, a lot of you already know this, what you are disputing, such as date last active, balance, date last paid, so on and so forth. Why you are disputing it. 3 different dates. It can't possibly be 3 different dates because the date last active is 1 date, right? You're not even talking about challenges or anything like that. However, this is where a challenge would go if you were challenging. And the action that you want to occur, delete or correct. Delete or correct. So, if you have a, so what you're disputing, why you're disputing it, and the outcome, what you want them to do. Your disputes must always, every single letter that you send out needs to match this formula right here. I don't care what you're disputing. I don't care if it's a charge up. I don't care if it's a collection. I don't care if it's a foreclosure or a short sale, an inquiry, a late payment. I don't care what it is. The balance, the monthly payment, the past due. I don't care what it is. It needs to follow this very specific formula. Okay. So an example, and once again, this is coming directly from Trello, is that you are disputing Capital One. You're going to dispute Capital One, all right? You're going to say, Capital One, account number, yada, yada, yada. Date last active. We're using date last active on this, all right? This account needs to be removed or deleted or stop reporting this for FCRA non-compliance of inaccurate data report or my credit report. But delete or remove this account because there are 3 different dates last active or dates of last activity, right? You can leave it right there. Or furthermore, there cannot be 3 different years last active. Was it 2015, 2012? Which shouldn't even be on there. Is it 2019? And if it's 2019 and you have one that's 2015, obviously it's been re-aged, and that's like a whole different thing. Not for this video. But directly off of here, it says, remove this account for inaccuracy because the date last active is reported with a different date by all 3 bureaus. Additionally, I'm seeing different years, and then you list the date. Delete immediately. So, taking this example, you can see everything that I pointed out, what you're disputing, why you're disputing it, and the outcome that you want to happen, right? So if this isn't making sense, please, please, please open this up when it pops up on your screen. Hopefully it doesn't take you off this webinar. If it does, that really sucks. But there will be a replay, all right? So, and I did give you examples and I broke it down. So reason for writing your statement must be very, very clear, all right? I pulled my credit report 3 days ago. I found a few accounts that don't match my records. I actually pulled my credit report from different sites as well as directly on your website to determine whether the report is accurate, meaning from place to place. I'd like for you to investigate the accounts I've listed below, just like I mentioned, right? And then I do have these kind of pile on top of each other because I ran out of space. Now, I don't recommend listing more than 10 accounts per letter. Send them out separately if you have more accounts, all right? The opening paragraph, the body of it does not have to change because it's all in one round. If you have an account without creditor names, you're going to use it exactly as it listed, such as unknown creditor. If you have X's in the account number, don't list them. You're only going to list the numbers or the letters, such as 1, 2, 3, 4. So if it's XXX 1, 2, 3, 4, you're just going to write 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that is how you're supposed to list your accounts. And then, like I said, why you're disputing it. So that's where we use the Capital One example. All right. So I just wanted to make sure I went through all of this. And once again, you will see this on Trello. All right. It's all going to make sense once you actually see all of my notes that I've put in here for you. Okay, so moving on to the last part, which is going to be the biggest credit repair mistakes. Alright, so after I go through the biggest credit repair mistakes, don't leave the webinar yet. Alright, so after I go through the credit repair mistakes, don't leave the webinar yet. Alright, so when I see biggest mistakes, and I actually only have the first thing listed on here because when I was writing this on the board, that's when I actually came up with them. Just because my brain was, thinking about it. There had been time in between. But I thought that the first one was the most important because I've been hearing it a lot this week. So number one is going to be making complaints. I'm not talking about complaining to the bureaus like, why did you do this? And I'm challenging them. This is a violation. I'm talking about the AG, the BBB, the CFPB, and the FTC. Stop making those complaints frivolously. All you're going to do is screw everything up for yourself. Okay? I'm going to explain why, and I hope that none of you take this the wrong way. Whoever is left on my webinar, please don't take it the wrong way what I'm going to explain, okay? Now, I'm not trying to preface this with negativity. I'm just saying that sometimes the way that I talk is very off-putting, but I don't try to come across that way, okay? So what I mean is that most of the time you're going to love me or you're going to hate me, right? I get a ton of likes on my YouTube videos, and that same video, I get hate mail about it or thumbs down from, like the same people. Why? And this is a different video, but it's called the Law of Attraction Confirmation Bias. You're just looking to confirm what you already knew. So if you already knew that, you're making these mistakes, then you're probably not going to like this video because I'm confirming and you're confirming that you already did this wrong and that's why you're not getting the results, right? But if you didn't know this and all that kind of stuff, and you're like, oh wow, that's valuable information. Same video, totally opposite results, right? Okay, so moving on. So, I understand that this can be really frustrating and that you want to complain to somebody, but you have to understand once again about the big picture. You have to understand the way that the bureaus and the creditors and the collectors and even these organizations see you. And they're not even seeing you, they're seeing your credit report. They don't know that just because you have a 420 credit score, that you're the pastor at your church and you have all of these followers that, you led to, be Christians, and that you saved a ton of lives, drug addicts and prostitutes and, all that kind of stuff. They don't know that. They don't see that because all they're seeing is your 420 credit score. They don't know that, you're a stay-at-home mom and that you have 4 children and, 3 of them are either mentally or physically handicapped, and, you spend 24 hours a day caring for these, beautiful little children that God put on this planet for a reason, right? They don't see that. They see your 420 credit score. They don't see that when you're at Walmart that you're giving money without anybody knowing it to homeless people, right? They don't see that. They see a 420 credit score. And you have to realize this. So, yes, the creditors and the bureaus and the collectors all see you as somebody who stole and either didn't pay on time or didn't pay back at all. And now, after you stole, you're trying to screw the system even more by sweeping it under the carpet, right? If I put something here, I'm not going to see it anymore, right? So I'm trying to stick this here and sweep it under here so that it can't be seen. Kind of like when you're trying to, you're writing a letter in school and the teacher walks past and you kind of do one of those so that it can't be seen. They don't know that it's there. That's what credit repair is, isn't it? Yes or yes? Tell me that you're still listening. Put it down in the chat, all right? Tell me how you feel about this. I really want you to just pause for a second and tell me without any filter how you feel about what I'm telling you right now, what we're talking about, because this is a conversation, right? We're talking about this. I'm not talking at you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking with you, okay? This is very important for you to understand. So I want to know how you feel about it. Even if you want to privately email me, there is going to be a link that pops up under offers, and I believe link number 2 is my email, which is Kristen@expertcreditsweeps.com. Send me an email, and whether you like this or you hate it, let me know, okay? It's kind of like people watching my YouTube videos. They watch it, and they love it, but they don't even know. They watch it, but they hate it, and they don't even let me know. Let me know how you feel about this, okay? So You get credit, you don't pay for it, right? Now you're trying to go through this process and screw the system again so that people don't know about it, okay? All this is in here. Now you get pissed off that the creditor or the collector or the bureaus don't want to remove it to help you screw other creditors, right? This is how they see it. This is how they see that you are doing this. Because otherwise you would leave it alone and just be a responsible adult, right? But they don't care about your 420, remember? They don't care about your kids. They don't care about you being a pastor and saving all these lives. They don't care about you volunteering at the homeless shelter. They don't care about just you being a regular person trying to get your life together. This is how they see you. This is how they see you. They see you as a number, and that number screwed up, and now they're trying to do it all over again. Even if you're not trying to go and get high limit credit cards and, literally screw over the system again, this is how they see it, because you're going and you're making all these dumbass complaints. You're writing the CFPB and you're saying, I didn't pay this account and I don't want it reported on my credit report anymore because they put one number wrong, because the date is wrong, because there's a 0 instead of a 5 in the balance, because it says 30 days instead of 60 days. Oh, and I also don't want to pay it. I don't want to pay the account either, dude. Not only do I not want it reported on there, but I also don't want to pay it. Okay? This is how they see you. You have to see the bigger picture. Okay, so, and like a baby, after you can't get your result, right, the conversion on your dispute letter, you go crying like a baby, you run, cry your eyes out to the organizations because you're not getting your way. So, so as to not get them to see you this way, you have to make sure that you only use these complaints, right, to the AG, the BBB, the FTC, the CFPB. That's the Attorney General, the Better Business Bureau, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and then the Federal Trade Commission, right? You only want to use these complaints when you have a stack of violations. Stack of violations, stack of violations. Because remember, all of these cards are stacked against you. All of these cards are stacked against you from the beginning, okay? And what you want to do is, for every card that's stacked against you, that's a violation. So now I don't have a card stacked against me, and it's more in my favor than theirs, right? You want to take it away from you and put it on them. Take it away from you and put it on them. So that when you get to the end, right, you have all these violations and everything that they've done wrong to you, and now you can go make that complaint, all right? So do not be frivolous with your complaints, all right? So now, for those of you that made it to the end of this webinar, and yes, we are at the end, but don't leave just yet. Just hold on, because I know that that is leaving language, right? Anytime someone says, okay, lastly, all right, that's another closing language right there. So I'm not trying to close anything right now. I'm just saying that we have completed all of this stuff, and I just want to give you these 2, 3, and 4 in a moment. Right, so we're going to go over that in a moment. The link should have popped up. If it hasn't, it will, because I have to manually go through and tell my system when to pop up these links and stuff. So you should be seeing the handout for Trello in a moment, but if you don't, it'll be there. If you need help, you will see offers pop up as well, and let me go over those before I close on this. So I do have a couple offers on here, like I mentioned. If you, either you for your clients or you for yourself, or you know somebody that needs my help taking over their file or your file directly, please use the link that shows up for the first offer, which is a free call. This free call is not an advice call. This free call is not an advice call. You will not get any advice. I may give you a free recommendation, but that is up to my discretion, okay? This call is very specifically and solely only for me to take over your credit file, or to see if I can take it over and see if I can help you. If I can help you, I will provide pricing at that time. I am customizing every single price, every single file, the process, the solution, my solution audit that I provide. So if you want my assistance, go ahead and schedule that call. I will let you know that it is a minimum of $12.51 flat fee, and if I do offer monthly, it's a minimum of $139 per month. And right off the bat, I will tell you that it is a 12-month program, probably because of all of this stuff right here. But I do normally complete clients in 9 months or so. All right. So that is offer number one. If you want it done correctly, if you want your conversion booster, if I could talk correctly, then that is the link that you want to click. All right. So you can also schedule a one-on-one coaching with me via video or online, such as on my chat, or just a project together. I customize all pricing as well for that, obviously, but you are looking at a couple $1,000s on that. So that is my inner tribe. So that is not for everyone. I take on only a couple of those per year because it's so much of my time. All right, so excuse me again. The third thing is, so you can directly email me the link to pull up my email using your default email client. It's Kristen@expertcreditsweeps.com. Just let me know that you're interested in the one-on-one coaching. All right, so I just wanted to give you a heads up on, the pricing. All right, so the third thing is that I'm really excited about. In about 2 weeks, I am doing a paid webinar. All right, so if you got value out of my free webinar, just imagine what you would get out of my paid webinar. It's going to be, I believe it's going to be $97 or so. All right, so in about 2 to 3 weeks, all you have to do is click on the link. There's no payment right now. I will not be asking for payment until I get a very specific date and at least have my outline of what I will be doing. All right, so you will get notifications. All you're going to be doing is entering your name and your email, and you will be, you'll go into my spreadsheet and all of that kind of stuff, and I will be reaching out regarding the notifications. All right, so free call for the credit sweep, one-on-one coaching, and make sure that you, even if you don't know if you want to do it right now, or if you don't know if you're going to have, just $100 sitting on the side, but if you have negative items that need to be removed, this is something that you absolutely want to get in on. So make sure that you go and leave me your name and your email address for that, all right? Okay, so let's go and I guess I can put this down now, right? Because we're done. Let's go and look at 2, 3, and 4. All right, so the second mistake that you guys are making is that you're putting signatures on your letters. Do not sign your letters physically, okay? Put your name, just Kristen Vargas, John Doe. All you're doing is writing your name. That's it. That's it. You're not writing anything else, okay? You're not signing it. Now, someone actually asked me, what about my signature on my license? Dude, that shit's so small it doesn't even matter. All right, so that is mistake number 2. Mistake number 3 is missing identification. Every single letter that goes out to the credit bureaus must have ID, SSN, and proof of address. Your ID is not proof of address. It is only proof of identification. Social, it does not have to be your social security card. It can be, they'll give you a social security card, it give you something from the Treasury, from the IRS, or W-2 pay stub, as long as it shows your full social, right? Proof of address, obviously, utility bill, pay stub, W-2, so on and so forth. All right, so number 4, you guys are using the wrong credit monitoring. The only sites that you should be using are Smart Credit, and I have a link for that one, and Identity IQ. So by the time that I post this video tomorrow, for you guys to watch, I will have added in those links, because I added them on the board when I was writing this out for you. I will have added those links into the help and resources section, which is the very first thing that you see on the Trello board, okay? So using my link, you can get Identity IQ for only $21.99 a month, right? Their pricing directly on their website is $29.99 a month, and it's not even as good a membership as what I have to offer you. Okay, so I will also be posting a couple of other resources for you, such as if you're trying to rebuild your credit, you can get a secured card and stuff like that. None of that is mandatory for you to do. It's just there to help you. Now, I am also required to tell you, and I wouldn't not tell you anyways, that clicking on any of those links there, if you do sign up, I may get a commission as an affiliate. such as with Identity IQ and let's just say, you know, My Jewelers or New Coast or the secured card. So just so that you know, and you're not like, oh, well, she didn't tell me, blah, blah, blah. It's already assumed, it's already a statement in my email, but I'm being upfront and honest with you. Now, I will tell you that I'm not trying to sell you anything on that. I use Identity IQ for all of my clients. I use it for myself, okay? It provides the most information, and it also provides the very same place that I start at, which is Date Last Active. You can't find that a lot of places. It gives all 3 bureaus, all 3 scores, etc., etc. Okay, so if you have negative items that need to be removed, then that is the site that you should be using. Okay, hands down, 100%. Took me years to find it. I used to go with Credit Check Total, then they changed their interface, then I found Identity IQ and all that kind of stuff, and you know, that's one of the mistakes that you're making, is not using the right credit monitoring. All right, guys, now that is it. All right, so I look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. Like I said, that one is going to be paid. Even if you don't know if you have $100 sitting around right now or not, go and submit your information, and you'll have enough time to think on it, okay? So you will be getting notifications from me. I will also be following up with you because obviously you gave your email address to sign up for this webinar. Thank you for joining me. Those of you that stayed to the end, please go right now and say something in the chat. All right, tell me how you feel about this. Tell me whether you liked it, whether you didn't, and if you did, what part you liked. And if you didn't, tell me what part you didn't. Or hey, maybe you didn't like any of it. Maybe I talked too slow. One of my mentors told me that I speak too quickly, and that's one thing that can make people really confused, or even feel like I'm spammy or scammy or whatever, because I speak very quickly. I just have a lot that goes through my head at once, and it's not a sales tactic or anything like that. So, you know, I'm passionate about what I do, and sometimes the words flow out very quickly. So I had to slow down my roll. But sometimes when I slow down, the words are already out of my head, and then now I don't even remember what the hell I was talking about to begin with, right? So I slowed down, even if it seemed a little bit boring. It's so that virtually all of you can understand what I'm talking about. So anywho, thank you for being here. If you got value out of this, please share it with somebody else. So, maybe I can help somebody that you know. All right. I'm going to go turn off my camera now. Thank you once again, and goodbye. It's going to redirect you to my Trello board even if you didn't click on the link. So once this ends, it'll go to Trello, but make sure you click on the link. Bye guys, thank you.